committee, the Mass Transit Committee to order. And we have a quorum, which is good. And first of all, we have adoption of the previous minutes of the meeting. Can I have a motion? Bob, second, Alex. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is a resolution authorizing the county executive to lease agreement for airport surveillance radar facility. I understand that that's to be tabled. So that is going to be tabled because the FAA hasn't come up with a plan yet. All right. Current business, amending the 2015 to 2019 Albany County Airport Authority Capital Program. And that's going to be coupled with the 2020 to 2024 plan. Peter, can you explain it for us for these charts?
Yes, my name is Peter Studo. I'm the General Counsel at the Albany County Airport Authority, and I'm here with Stephen Iacchetta, the airport planner. We put pictures in front of you of the parking garage, if you have any questions about that. It's a 1,000-car parking garage. The structure is 95% complete. There's still a lot of interior work that needs to be done. And the picture on the front is as of Thursday or Friday of last week. And then we tried to show a progression of the construction, so you can get a feel for that. Our statute, which created the authority, requires that we submit a 5-year capital plan to the county legislature for approval. Kevin's office asked for the prior plan, which we gave, and you should all have a copy of that as well. And I'll try to explain that to make it as easy as possible. In my view, it's required. You're not supposed to make capital expenditures unless it's on the capital plan, but it's not a mandatory map. It's more of a planning document that forces you to consider what you're trying to do, capital-wise over the next 10 years, sources of revenue, how you're going to pay, what are you going to do and how are you going to pay for it. This plan was originally adopted in 14, you can see that there. It was amended in 17 and it was amended this summer. This is the final amendment that carries us through to December 31st, because that's when the capital plan runs through. The last plan we had was about 142,000. We reduced it by about, or million I should say, 142 million.
So.
Yeah. We reduced it by about 6 million, just to conform to what actually, closer to what actually did happen. Most of these things, the highlighted yellows are all changes. Most of these are reductions. And I'm not going to go through them in detail because we're going to do that more in the new capital plan. I'm happy to answer any questions, but the major components are airfield. You can see noise mitigation. I'll read the subheadings. Runway improvements, noise mitigation, taxiway renovations, apron ramp improvements, navigation aids, service access roads, glycol storage and processing improvements. And we use glycol to de-ice the planes, and then you have to process it once it's used. Steve knows all about that. Master plan update is something that's required by the FAA, and we're gonna start working on that. And we'll talk about it more in detail when we talk about the upcoming 5-year. Then you have the terminal improvements, which is terminal and administration retrofit, loading bridges, and green initiatives. Everything's been, to my knowledge, everything's been decreased except 2 items. Terminal improvements, because we got a state grant for 42 million, so we're putting roughly 10 million into the terminal. New bathrooms, new floors, new ceilings, new walls, etc. And it's a little rough right now if you travel, but it's going to be better in the spring, a lot better in the spring. We're getting two new food vendors and so forth. So we need an update because we're over 20 years old. Land side, the big project that's an increase is the 1,000-car garage. Garage extensions here, 41.2 million is what our budget number is, or our capital plan number, and that's the photographs that we put in front of you. So the rest are, to my understanding, reductions. So this number is roughly $6 million less than it had been. We break down the expenditures roughly by years, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then we break it down into our funding sources, which we think is important for you to consider and for us to consider. Federal money, our capital plan number is 45 million over that 5-year period, the prior 5 years. New York State, 30 million in the grant that we just received is a big part of that. And Airport Authority cash, 60 million. So 60 divided by 5 is 12, I guess. So we've spent an average, we'll have spent an average of 12 million a year. which is revenues from the airport, from all various sources of revenue that we have, from the airlines, from parking, from the concessions, and so forth. And then we've also taken on debt. Now, our debt situation is pretty good in the sense that we spend down $12 million of debt a year, so that's decreasing it. And our debt now is about $12 million. In 2026, it drops way down to about $2 million a year. So we have room to borrow for further capital improvements in the future. And we try to be prudent about that. So we're going to ask, at the appropriate time for you to vote on, recommending that this amended capital plan for the final part of 2019 be approved. So do we have any questions or discussion on that? Okay. And if you want me to go faster, I will, or slower, however you.
All right.
You're doing
Just
fine.
fine.
You're doing fine.
Pavement on the runway. Is it pavement or is it concrete?
It's an asphalt type pavement, right, Steve?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Very thick, very high grade.
Concrete hard stand surrounds the terminal.
Yeah.
Where the aircraft park is required to be concrete
Okay.
or cement.
So the runway is asphalt, but where they park, it's concrete, and it's very deep and, obviously a high specification. Okay, this is basically the same document for the forward 5 years, for 2020 to 2024. The categories are basically the same. We've upped the numbers. The other numbers was the high 130s. We're projecting 180, and that's a planning document, sort of a wish list. If everything goes well, if employments keep going up, if the economy stays well, this is a map of a plan that we're hoping you approve for capital for the next 5 years. The categories are all the same. Airfield, terminal, landside, and vehicles down here, which I don't think I talked about the first time. Airfield, again, air traffic control tower improvements. The air traffic control tower, I don't know if anybody remembers, but it used to be right next to the old terminal 23 or 24 years ago. That got knocked down and got put over on Old Niskayuna Road. What road is that? It's on the opposite quadrant.
134 Sicker Road.
Yeah, so we built that for X millions of dollars, and the FAA is the tenant there. They're asking for improvements, and we're negotiating improvements, $3 million, and we're also negotiating a new lease with them to reflect the next probably 10 years. So we're in negotiation with them about that. Noise mitigation, we put in $6 million, nothing in the first year, and then, we spread it out. That's just a projection number. We used to buy a lot of homes around the airport, probably the members in Colony may remember that. We very rarely condemned unless we had to for safety reasons, but under the noise program, it was always a voluntary program. There were some older homes that were too close to the airport, and it affects children, it affects people. So the federal government, put out money, and we bought a lot of properties, and we probably won't spend that $6 million going forward. Runway improvements, taxiway renovations, apron. That's all the asphalt and concrete that we've been talking about. So you can see the number. We're constantly improving this. There's usually federal money involved because that's the core purpose. They get high rankings on the grant system from the FAA. So for these various things, 1028 is the one runway. That's lighting renovations, 3.9. 119 pavement and lighting, 5. 1028 obstruction removals. If there's anything sticking in the air, like the checkerboard tower was a big prominent example up in Latham. The water tower, we removed that. We replaced its function down in Loudonville and replaced a lot of piping, and that's the type of thing that the FAA provides funding for. Safety is very, very critical. And then you can see, improvements, obstruction removals were there, fencing, drainage, wetland mitigation, taxiway renovations. Those are just the little roads that the aircraft taxis on before they get to the runway and to get off. Apron and ramp. Some of this terminology you may not be familiar with, or some of you may, but that's right around, that's where the aircraft park. So we're constantly improving that. Navigation aids, that includes lighting and so forth. Service access roads. We have a road that goes around the perimeter of the whole airport, and that has to be maintained as well. Glycol storage and processing. As I said, we de-ice the planes with the glycol solution. It gets collected, it gets treated in is it anaerobic or aerobic, Steve?
Anaerobic.
An anaerobic treatment system. And inert material comes out of that, and there's a gas that comes off that we burn for energy, and we spray. What do we do with the fluid? Spray it in the field, and
It's a bio treatment system, totally removes all glycol, and then it's clean water is discharged to the airfield when the soil temperature is above 50. We can improve the quality of Shaker Creek during the winter.
Yeah. So we have approval from DEC for all that. Terminal, there's 50 million there. I think they're carrying over the number because we're not going to be done with that project until 2020. Loading bridges, we're constantly renovating those, and we do, let's see what we have in here, like 2 next year, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million. We're constantly trying to renovate or replace the loading bridges that are there. And we're also contemplating one new loading bridge, because all the loading bridges are pretty much used up. So if there are any questions, we can answer that. Green initiatives, I'm sure the chairman will be interested. We have solar power planned in 3 locations. One's on the 79 building. You can see the panels that are already up. They're not connected and functional yet, but they're getting close. We have, the new parking garage has a pedestrian bridge, that's above the 2nd level that goes over. We're gonna put, that goes to the terminal, and we're gonna put solar panels on top of that. And then in long-term parking, which is near the terminal, but on the other side of the current garage, we're putting, you wanna describe that, how much, the solar panels that we're putting in long-term parking?
Sure. We received a $2 million grant, 1.6 state. So it's $2 million program to cover about 220 parking spaces, long-term parking. Very nice solar initiative. We're very pleased to receive that with state aviation fund support. We are negotiating with the Bergman Associates engineering team to advance that this spring. As soon as we're done with the garage, by March 30th, we'll advance the solar canopy array out in the terminal parking.
And you're gonna park your car under it, so it provides a little bit of shelter from rain and weather.
Provide a canopy
Solar
for
canopies
pedestrians,
you have.
as well as the cars parking beneath this energy-saving
You're planning
solar
more
array.
than one solar canopy?
It'll cover approximately 6 rows of cars in long-term space, yeah, about 220 spaces roughly.
And did you do the estimate on the electricity savings? Because your electricity bill is 2.7 million with the gas.
There is an offset, yes.
Okay, there is an offset.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Do you have a number on that or no? Yeah.
Roughly 450, just shy of half a megawatt. If we're using 3 megawatts, it'll be shy, about 400, 440 was a Clough Harbor estimate. It's not designed yet. I should not be quoted, this is off the record, but it's a substantial, about 2.5 acres of solar array out over long-term parking to protect cars and pedestrians. The pedestrian circulation will have protection, additional from the existing
Any
spine.
plans for LED parking lights?
LED street lights are coming in. We have them in all our economy parking lots, and we're rapidly advancing the LED technology throughout the existing 1998 garage as well as throughout the terminal. And we're among the first airports to have LED taxiway and runway edge lights.
I like the canopies, good.
Yeah, we're very big on LEDs throughout the terminal, through the garage and in the parking lots. Land side, property acquisitions, $5 million. Around the periphery of the airport, occasionally we need to acquire property for various things, parking and other things. Sometimes, the county's been nice enough to sell us some land, so that's a space holder so that we can do that. Parking development, again, we're always expanding, improving and redoing the parking. Maintenance hangar expansion. We have a maintenance hangar where we keep our snow equipment, and we still have equipment parked outside. So we're planning on extending, not extending that building, but building another building in the vicinity to store snow equipment. So Hangar Road, access, parking redevelopment. Hangar Road access is the road that goes around the perimeter of the airport, as I said before. Security and life safety alarm improvements, economic development opportunities. Air cargo facilities, we're gonna need to put, we have a completely full air cargo facility in the northeast quadrant of the airport. And, we have maintenance costs that go with that, and if we ever needed to do an expansion. We have $4 million over 5 years for that. Hangar Road access, am I below that? Air cargo facility, hangar maintenance expansion. We have our hangars are full now, and we have to maintain them, so we put a number in for that, in case we get a tenant and we want to build a new hangar as well. We have an airport industrial park that we bought from the Kaiser family over on Sicker Road West. We have, that's full, I mean, the market's, in '08, all our buildings seemed like they were empty, and everything's filled up and we're following the economy, just like everybody else. So that obviously is gonna take maintenance over time, the industrial park. So we have $2 million, over 5 years. Property utility improvements we always have to have, and this is a little bit of a catch-all, economic opportunities, we put in 10. Major vehicle equipment, airfield, snow removal, ARF is the air rescue and firefighter, parking, terminal, landside, FBO is fixed base operator, that's the Millionaire facility. We have de-icing equipment and stuff to vacuum up the glycol, so that's the major equipment. And we also have shuttle buses. So we have 12 million in that over 5 years. So the total there is 180. We have it broken up over 5 years as we sort of plan. And it's only a planning document. We're not approving these projects. Everything still has to go through full approvals. And our potential funding sources, and we'll just look at the bottom line if there are any other questions. But the 180 funding sources, 68 million federal, New York State, 14 million, who knows, Airport Authority cash, 97, and Airport Authority debt, potentially 63. And that's if we built everything on that plan. So it's a planning document. It allows us the latitude to do what we have to do, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, in the plans that I saw on the television tonight, that about 20 airports are going to have biometric technology, facial technology.
Okay.
You got any idea you're going to do that?
Well, Steve may be able to answer that better. At one point, we had a test thing, which was retina display. People who have badges, you have your badge, you show them your badge.
Sure,
That's how,
signage is electronic chip.
right. In one door, we had a retina reader, and it worked well, actually. And that was a test case. We had 3 of them.
Yeah.
That was a test case. I used to use one most of the time. And you would just go up and push the buttons. You put the last 4 digits of your social security and look into the thing and read your retina. And it seemed to work. That was a while ago. I'm not sure what
Right
we
after
have.
911.
I'm not sure what we have upcoming. Our time system for the airport authority and for airports management company, we put our hand in. That's how that's our punch-in system. So that somebody can't punch in for a friend and so forth. But I want to answer your question. Do we have biometric, anything on the horizon?
TSA is talking about new technology. It's still in a TSA test mode or beta mode at this point is our best information. We're scoping with some security checkpoint improvements as part of this.
So it's still in the TSA planning stages.
still in
We
beta.
don't have anything that's imminent.
I'm just interested in it because it looks a lot faster to go through that line, and a lot of people will be.
Well, we are putting in new machinery. Is that public? TSA is always trying to improve making lines faster, if I could just say that.
Okay.
And off the record, I'll tell you more about some new ideas that they have, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay, any other questions on the capital plan? We're asking for an amendment to the current capital plan and an approval of the 5-year plan.
Yeah. I'd like to group 2 and 3. Could I get a motion to group these two? Okay, motion Bob, second Ally. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, on both items 2 and 3, could I have a motion to approve? Motion by Bob, second by Ally. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay, we have one minor item at the back. Steve, do you want to do the easement with Niagara Mohawk?
Okay,
It's on the last pages.
Yeah, Albany Shaker Road, we're deeming the airport, National Grid is deeming the airport private property as opposed to public highway right away. So they're requiring that we do this extra administrative easement to support FAA localizer equipment. This is on the south side of Albany Shaker Road. As shown in this map,
They're the 3 last pages.
the 3 last pages of the agenda item. And we'd be grateful for your support for this utility easement to support the power main to the FAA equipment and transformer shown on this diagram. It's been in the works for some time, and this is the last step to complete the transaction. So the easement sketch shows a dashed line, which is the power main, and course of the line and transformer. The transformer is the square box on the back. So this follows standard grant of easement language to Niagara Mohawk Power Corporation doing business as Grid, National Grid, headquartered in Syracuse.
Yeah, as the committee may know or remember, the county still owns the underlying land at the airport, and we're just a tenant. You know, we have a land lease for, you know, a number of years, no doubt. But in order to grant an interest in the property, which an easement's an interest in the property, we need approval of the county. And this is Niagara Mohawk asking for an easement so that we can service a power box for the FAA. Right off of Albany Shaker, you know where the new Albany Shaker Road is?
Yeah.
It's on the south side of that.
Yeah.
And
It's
there's
really,
a little electric box there, but they require it.
it's really National Grid, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they go by both names, as you can see.
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been through that already.
Yes, it is National Grid, yes.
Happy to
But
answer
their
any
easement says
questions.
Niagara Mohawk, you know.
Yeah, well,
I'm not a member of the committee, but will that easement, will that be on the, do we have to dig up Albany Shaker Road, or is it actually off to the side? And
It's off, Steve can
Entirely south of the new Exit 3 improvements by DOT on Albany Shaker Road. As you know, they did a strip taking and there's improvements. Paving is going on today, nice new smooth pavement on Albany Shaker Road. The county highway, funded by DOT as part of that project, but this is all south.
So nobody
all
has
south
to
and off of that,
dig
no.
up
No, it's all on
Albany
the south.
Shaker Road?
I'll give you a little bit of a completer answer. The wiring is in the right-of-way on the south side, running along Albany
Yep.
Shaker Road, and this thing veers, it goes perpendicular, going due south. And
Oh,
and it's
got
on the
it, got
dirt
it,
where the
got it.
farms used to be on the south
Got
side.
it, got it. I just, so I know they had
There's no
just,
digging up of the.
they had just actually redone several years ago that section of.
Well, they're doing it now, I mean, they're redoing it right as we speak,
Yeah.
Paved
yeah.
today. So about 20 feet off the
Okay,
old highway.
thank you.
Thank you.
So the wire's in the road, and we're not crossing the road, we're staying on the same south side.
okay, any other questions? To Steve and Peter. Okay, on number 4, could I have a motion to approve, please? Any second? All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. A motion to adjourn? To adjourn, okay.
Thank you to the chairman and.
Thank you.